So for example 3, I have 3 problems here. I encourage you to pause it and try to factor the top and the bottom on your own and see if you understand. And if not, you can come ask me questions or just stop and raise your hand. But this, I want you to pause it and try it on your own. And then in a second, I'm going to do them. So hopefully you've paused it already and you've tried. If not, do it now. But I'm going to, again, factor the top, factor the bottom, see if they cancel. So on part A, I can factor out a 12, right? I can divide both by 12, and then I get just y plus 2. If I distribute, it works out. And then on the bottom, I have 48y. Nothing cancels out. What the heck? Except for I can reduce. So for these, I just reduce. Some of you might have been thinking that. Some of you were like, hey, that's not fair. You didn't tell us that. I mean, kind of. Divide both by 12. So here I could divide by 12, and here divide by 12. So what is that? That just leaves me with 1. So this does cancel out to a 1, and this cancels out to a 4. So I get, for my answer, I get y plus 2 times 1, but you don't need that 1 there, divided by 4y, and that's as simple as I can get. So there we go. Great. What about this one? Well, I can factor out on the top, I can factor out an x. So hopefully you did that and you got x times 2x plus 1. And on the bottom, you can also factor out an x. Right? So that's x and then 3x plus 2. Well, this and this do not cancel. However, the x's do, so that goes away. So we get 2x plus 1 over 3x plus 2. And you can't cancel anything out there because you have addition and addition in between. So there's that answer. Hopefully you got that one. On the top, this one factors into a plus 1, a minus 1, right? Of course. I knew that. And then this one, I have to do x factor. So 2 times the negative 1, that's negative 2. And then I have a negative 1 there. It's just 2 and 1, and I have to have a negative 2. So that means I got 2a squared minus 2a plus 1a minus 1. Split that up. I can divide by 2a on this one. That gives me a minus 1, and divide by 1 here, so I get a plus 1 and the a minus 1. Those are the same. Great. These are the longest type of problems, but I mean, still, I don't think they're that bad. So I get that. I got on the top, I have the red. On the bottom, I have the green. A minus 1. Hey. And then 2a plus 1. Some people are thinking like, oh, you can cancel out the a plus 1. No. You can't because these terms are not exactly the same. However, these ones are. So those go away. And my answer is a plus 1 over 2a plus 1. Hopefully that makes sense to you. There's example 3. I'm going to show you something for example 4, and then we can be done. So here we go. Simplify this thing. Again, you just factor the top, factor the bottom. So for the top, this is a difference of perfect squares. Hopefully you notice that. So that means it's 1 minus, or 1 plus y times 1 minus y. There we go. And then on the bottom, I do x factoring. So in the bottom, I'll do that in green. And I have, in the top I get 1 times 3. So that's just 3. And then a negative 4, right? In the bottom, it's just 3 times 1. They're both negative. So I get y squared, copy that down, minus 3y minus 1y plus 3. Split that up. I can divide by y. And then I get just y minus 3. Here I have to divide by negative. So negative 1. And then I get y minus 3 also. Sweet. So y minus 3 and y minus 1. And let's see what happens. Okay, so I have the top part, which became, whoops, the top part became 1 plus y, 1 plus y, and the bottom part became 1 minus y. And then we're dividing by the bottom part, which was in green, and that was y minus 3 and y minus 1. Holy smokes, these are super similar, but they're not the same. So I'm going to show you a little trick. So here, this example serves to show you guys some kind of trick here. So trick, here's a trick. If I have the term 1 minus y, and I factor out a negative 1, let's see what happens. If I factor out a negative 1, that's dividing by negative 1. Negative 1 goes on the outside, and then I get 1 divided by negative 1 is negative 1. Negative y divided by negative 1 is positive y. Wait a minute, look at this. Now I have a positive y and a minus 1. That is the same thing as, well, keep the negative 1 outside, positive y minus 1. So this is the same thing as that if you factor out a negative 1. So we're going to use that trick right here. We're going to use that to change this. We just saw that, well, we have 1 plus y, that stays. But if we factor out a negative 1, and it's still multiplication, remember you have to put parentheses there because it's still multiplication, we just saw that if we factor out the negative 1, we get y minus 1. Y minus 1 there. And then the bottom still stayed the same, y minus 3 and y minus 1. Now look at that, they cancel out perfectly, except for we still have that negative 1 in the top. So we get negative 1 times 1 plus y divided by y minus 3. And there's our answer for that. That trick we'll definitely take some practice getting used to. But when you have it backwards and subtraction, you can kind of switch it around by factoring out a negative 1. Anyway, that's it for that. Goodbye.